Hi, my name is Ashima Ananda, and I have written a book called Charging Your Chakras, a practical guide to chakra exploration. I have also created a meditation reference card deck that's a companion to the book. You can find them both at ashimaananda.com. These 5-minute videos are meant as some explanation. We dive into creating practices and all kinds of stuff. But again, I have about 5 minutes because that's about as long as I can talk, and I think that's about as long as you want to listen. Anywho, we have been discussing Anahata. Anahata is our heart chakra. And last time we talked about something that I had come up with that sort of came to me in the middle of the night, and I shared that with you. Has to do with safe harbor, being accepted, being loved without regard for any metrics like success or failure or right or wrong. We talked a little bit about having that safe harbor inside of us, and I mentioned that for me that really lives in Anahata. So I got to thinking a little bit about that, and I started thinking about happiness, because kind of goes hand in hand. If I have a safe harbor, if in my energetic being there's a safe harbor, and in that safe harbor I am acknowledged and recognized and loved for who I am without regard for those external metrics, then I sort of naturally went to happiness. So when I started thinking about happiness, I thought, well, I can choose to be happy, which I do a lot. And I have a funny look on my face when I say that, because when I go out into the world, it's a very strange sensation sometimes, because choosing happiness means that in the midst of a lot of things, you're still happy. And that, I think for some people that might be like, oh, you're suspect. But I have had a happiness practice for a very, very long time. I've lived a life like everyone else. There's been tragedy, there's been horrible things, there have been wonderful things. And so it's a process. I have, at these intervals, chosen happiness. So what I thought about when I thought about happiness was how to practice happiness, how to practice choosing happiness. And there's a sensory part of this, right? Sensory, how you perceive the world around you. And I thought a lot about breaks. If I take a break, what am I doing? Am I choosing happiness in my break? Is my break distracting me? And then I also went over to savoring positive moments. And I got to thinking, wait a minute, is savoring positive moments, can I only do that in those mountaintop experiences? Once those, when you have that whoa moment and you're there, of course you're going to savor that as a positive experience. What about when you're taking a walk? And I had this happen to me, it was really fun. I was taking a walk in a place I hadn't been before, because I live in a place where it does not snow. And it had either snowed or it was quite frosty. And there was a leaf that I saw on my walk. And this was the most beautiful leaf I had ever seen. It had frost around every contour. And you could see it was frozen, just frozen frost around every contour. And it stunned me. I just grabbed it and went, oh, and I sat for a very long time and looked at it. I didn't sit, I was standing there, I was on a walk. And I go back to that moment often. When I am having trouble finding happiness, I will find that memory and dive into that feeling, that sensory delight that I experienced. Now, let's unpack that. I was on a walk. We all do that pretty much, right? It was a leaf. There's millions of them. And it was a frosty morning. So those externals didn't have a whole lot to do with my happiness. What did have a lot to do with my happiness was noticing. And I think that's probably the key here. That's my 5 minutes. That's the key here, right? Is the noticing. Thank you very much for listening. It's always a pleasure to do these videos. I will be back again next Monday, sending positive energy out to all beings everywhere. Namaste. The light in me loves, honors, and recognizes the light in you.